Have you ever noticed how some people remain calm while everything around them seems to be falling apart? They lose money, yet they don't lose hope. They face criticism, yet they don't lose confidence. They experience setbacks, yet they continue, moving forward as though life itself is preparing them for something greater. Meanwhile, most people allow the smallest inconveniences to ruin an entire day. One negative comment destroys their confidence. One rejection convinces them they're not good enough. One unexpected obstacle makes them question everything they've worked for. So what separates these two kinds of people? Is it luck, natural talent, a privileged upbringing, or is it something much deeper? More than 2,000 years ago, a group of philosophers discovered a way of thinking that has quietly shaped some of history's greatest leaders, warriors, entrepreneurs, and thinkers. It wasn't designed to make life easier. It was designed to make people stronger. That philosophy is called Stoicism. Stoicism doesn't promise a life without pain. It teaches you how to become someone who cannot easily be broken by pain. It doesn't eliminate obstacles. It transforms obstacles into opportunities. It doesn't remove suffering. It teaches you how to suffer less by changing the way you think. Today, despite being centuries old, Stoicism has become more relevant than ever. We live in a world overflowing with distractions. Social media constantly encourages comparison. News headlines compete for our attention every minute. People seek validation from strangers while forgetting to value themselves. Stress has become normal. Anxiety has become common. And peace feels increasingly rare. Yet the Stoics faced wars, plagues, political chaos, betrayal, loss, exile, and unimaginable hardship. Still, they managed to cultivate inner peace that many people today struggle to find despite living far more comfortable lives. Perhaps that's because peace has never depended on circumstances. It has always depended on perspective. In today's video, we're exploring 12 Stoic principles that can begin transforming your life immediately. These aren't abstract philosophical theories. They're practical tools you can start using the moment this video ends. Some of these lessons may challenge the way you've always thought. Others may completely change how you respond to difficult people, stressful situations, and life's greatest disappointments. Stay with me until the very end, because the final principle is one that many people spend their entire lives learning too late. And if you enjoy content that helps you build mental strength, emotional resilience, and lasting confidence, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, let's begin. Principle number 1. Control what you can. One morning you wake up. The weather isn't what you expected. Traffic is terrible. Someone cuts in front of you. Your boss criticizes your work. Your investment loses value. A friend doesn't reply to your message. By lunchtime, your mood is already ruined. But here's the question. Did those events ruin your day, or did your reaction ruin your day? This simple distinction sits at the very heart of Stoicism. According to the Stoics, nearly every source of unnecessary suffering comes from confusing two very different categories. Things you can control and things you cannot. You cannot control other people's opinions. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control the past. You cannot control how quickly success arrives. You cannot control whether someone appreciates your kindness. But you can control your effort, your attitude, your discipline, your honesty, your patience, your courage, and your response. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, you always have power over your own mind, not over external events. Think about how much energy people waste every single day worrying about things completely outside their influence. They worry about what strangers think. They replay conversations that happened years ago. They obsess over mistakes that cannot be undone. They imagine disasters that never happen. It's like trying to command the ocean to stop producing waves. No matter how loudly you shout, the waves continue. Now imagine directing all that energy towards something you actually control. Learning a new skill, improving your health, reading another chapter, practicing patience, saving money, strengthening your character. Your entire life begins changing, not because the world became easier, but because your focus became wiser. Whenever something stressful happens today, pause for a moment. Ask yourself one simple question. Is this within my control? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, practice acceptance. This one habit alone can eliminate countless hours of unnecessary anxiety. Principle number 2. Stop seeking validation. Imagine posting a photo online. Within minutes, you're checking how many people liked it. An hour later, you're checking again. Someone leaves a negative comment. Suddenly your confidence disappears. Sound familiar? Modern life has trained us to seek approval everywhere. We want people to admire us, agree with us, praise us, notice us, applaud us. But the Stoics warned against this long before social media ever existed. They understood something timeless. The moment your happiness depends on other people's approval, you hand them control over your emotional well-being. Think about that. If one compliment makes you happy, one criticism can make you miserable. That means your emotions belong to whoever speaks loudest. Stoicism teaches something radically different. Your value doesn't increase because someone praises you, and it doesn't decrease because someone criticizes you. Imagine two trees growing side by side. One tree grows because people admire it. The other grows because that's simply what healthy trees do. Which tree is stronger? The same applies to human beings. When your actions are guided by principles instead of applause, you become emotionally independent. Of course, appreciation feels good. There's nothing wrong with enjoying encouragement. The problem begins when approval becomes a necessity instead of a bonus. Ask yourself honestly, how many decisions have you made simply because you wanted other people to approve? How many dreams have you delayed because you feared criticism? How many opportunities have you missed because someone else might judge you? The Stoics believed character matters infinitely more than reputation, because reputation lives inside other people's minds. Character lives inside yours. One can disappear overnight. The other stays with you forever. The next time someone criticizes you, pause. Instead of reacting emotionally, ask yourself, is there truth in this criticism? If yes, learn from it. If no, let it pass like the wind. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Principle number 3. Every obstacle is training. Imagine walking into a gym for the first time. You pick up a heavy weight. Immediately your muscles begin resisting. It's uncomfortable. It's difficult. Your arms shake. But that's exactly how strength is built. Now imagine demanding lighter weights every single day. Would you become stronger? Of course not. Life works the same way. Every challenge you face is resistance training for your character. The Stoics didn't ask why difficult things happened. They asked, what is this difficulty trying to teach me? Lose your job. Perhaps it's teaching adaptability. Experience rejection. Perhaps it's teaching resilience. Face betrayal. Perhaps it's teaching discernment. Encounter failure. Perhaps it's teaching humility. Every setback carries a hidden lesson. The problem is that most people only see the pain. They never stay long enough to discover the wisdom. Think back to one of the hardest seasons of your life. At the time, it probably felt unbearable. You questioned yourself. You doubted your future. You wondered whether things would ever improve. But now, looking back, didn't you become stronger because of it? Didn't you learn something invaluable? Didn't it shape the person you've become today? The obstacle wasn't sent to destroy you, it was preparing you. This doesn't mean enjoying suffering. The Stoics weren't pretending pain feels pleasant. Instead, they believed that pain becomes meaningful when it contributes to growth. Imagine two people losing the exact same opportunity. One spends years blaming circumstances. The other asks, "What can I learn?" 5 years later, their lives look completely different. Not because fate treated them differently, but because they interpreted the experience differently. Every obstacle contains two possibilities: excuse or education. Which one you choose determines who you become. So the next time life places something difficult in your path, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "Who is this helping me become?" That single question has the power to transform frustration into purpose. And we've only just begun. Because in the next part, we'll explore why discomfort is secretly your greatest teacher, how mastering your emotions gives you an unfair advantage in life, and why chasing pleasure often leads people further away from happiness than they ever imagined. Trust me, the next 3 Stoic principles may completely change the way you approach success, relationships, and everyday challenges. So, stay with me. If you've made it this far, you've already discovered 3 principles that separate emotionally resilient people from those constantly controlled by circumstances. You'll learn to focus on what you can control, to stop depending on other people's approval, and to view every obstacle as an opportunity to grow. Those ideas alone can change the direction of your life. But what comes next is where Stoicism becomes truly transformative. Because mastering the outside world begins with mastering the world inside your own mind. Let's continue. Principle number 4. Become comfortable with discomfort. Imagine 2 people standing at the edge of a cold lake on an early morning. The first person dips a toe into the water and immediately steps back. "It's too cold," they say. "I'll come back another day." The second person takes a deep breath, walks straight in, and after a few moments, their body begins to adapt. The difference isn't that one person enjoys discomfort more than the other. The difference is that one understands something the other doesn't. Growth almost always begins where comfort ends. Modern life encourages us to avoid discomfort at every opportunity. If we're bored, we reach for our phones. If we're lonely, we search for instant distractions. If we're hungry, food is only minutes away. If something feels difficult, we often quit before giving ourselves the chance to improve. Convenience has become one of the defining features of our generation. Yet convenience can quietly make us mentally weak. The Stoics intentionally practiced small acts of discomfort, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they wanted to prepare themselves for life's inevitable hardships. Sometimes they wore simple clothing. Sometimes they ate plain meals. Sometimes they slept on hard surfaces. These weren't acts of punishment. They were exercises in resilience. They were reminding themselves that happiness doesn't depend on luxury, and that fear loses its power once you willingly face discomfort. Ask yourself this: how often do you avoid doing something simply because it feels uncomfortable? Maybe it's starting a business, applying for a new job, having an honest conversation, going to the gym, learning a new skill, or finally stepping outside your comfort zone. Every time you avoid healthy discomfort, you strengthen fear. Every time you face it, you strengthen yourself. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. At first, you wobble, you fall, you scrape your knees, you feel embarrassed. But imagine quitting after the first fall. You would never experience the freedom that comes afterward. Life works the same way. Temporary discomfort often leads to long-term confidence. This week, challenge yourself to do one thing that makes you uncomfortable. Wake up earlier. Take the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Read instead of scrolling through social media. Exercise when you don't feel like it. Speak up when your voice shakes. Every small act of courage becomes another brick in the foundation of your character. Remember, comfort feels good today. Growth feels good forever. Principle number 5. Master your emotions before they master you. Have you ever sent a message in anger that you later regretted? Have you ever made a decision while frustrated, only to wish you had waited? Have you ever allowed one emotional moment to create weeks, months, or even years of consequences? If so, You're not alone. One of the greatest misconceptions about Stoicism is that it teaches people not to feel emotions. Nothing could be further from the truth. The Stoics experience joy, sadness, fear, love, grief, and disappointment just like everyone else. The difference was that they refused to become slaves to those emotions. Imagine driving a car. Your emotions are like the dashboard indicators. They provide valuable information, but imagine if the dashboard suddenly grabbed the steering wheel. Chaos would follow immediately. That's what happens when emotions control your decisions. Feelings are meant to inform you, not govern you. Anger may tell you a boundary has been crossed. Fear may warn you to prepare. Sadness may remind you that you've experienced a meaningful loss. But none of those emotions should automatically determine your next action. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that between an event and his response existed a moment of choice. That tiny pause changes everything. Someone insults you. Pause. Someone disappoints you. Pause. Something unexpected happens. Pause. In that brief moment, you regain control. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin responding intentionally. Imagine someone throwing a burning piece of coal toward you. Most people instinctively grab it, only to burn themselves. Emotion works the same way. You don't have to catch every insult. You don't have to absorb every criticism. You don't have to react to every provocation. Sometimes the strongest response is calm silence. Other times it's walking away. And occasionally it's speaking firmly without losing your composure. Real strength isn't measured by how loudly you react. It's measured by how wisely you choose your response. The next time your emotions begin rising, try asking yourself 3 simple questions. Is what I'm about to say helpful? Is it necessary? Will I still be glad I said this tomorrow? Those questions alone can prevent countless regrets. Emotional mastery isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about preventing temporary emotions from making permanent decisions. When you master your emotions, you become someone who remains steady while everyone else is losing control. And in today's world, that's an incredibly rare skill. Principle number 6. Stop chasing pleasure and start chasing purpose. Imagine 2 people finishing work on a Friday evening. One spends the entire weekend escaping reality, endless scrolling, mindless entertainment, constant distractions, temporary pleasures. By Sunday night, they feel empty. The other spends time resting, reading, learning, exercising, building meaningful relationships, working toward long-term goals. By Monday morning, they feel energized. What's the difference? One pursued comfort. The other pursued purpose. Modern society constantly tells us that happiness comes from having more. More money, more followers, more expensive possessions, more attention, more entertainment. Yet, despite living in one of the most comfortable periods in human history, many people have never felt more anxious, more lonely, or more dissatisfied. Why? Because pleasure and fulfillment aren't the same thing. Pleasure feels good for a moment. Purpose gives your life direction. Pleasure fades quickly. Purpose grows stronger over time. Think about climbing a mountain. The climb is exhausting. Your legs ache. You question whether it's worth continuing. But when you finally reach the summit, the satisfaction runs far deeper than any moment of temporary comfort. Why? Because meaningful achievement requires effort. The Stoics believed that living according to virtue was the highest purpose anyone could pursue. Being honest when lying would be easier, showing courage when fear whispers to run away, practicing kindness even when others don't deserve it, remaining disciplined when excuses seem more attractive, living with integrity even when nobody is watching. Those choices don't always provide immediate pleasure, but they build something far more valuable. Self-respect. Ask yourself honestly, what are you chasing every day? Immediate gratification or lasting fulfillment? Are your daily habits moving you closer to the person you want to become? Or are they simply helping you avoid temporary discomfort? Every decision is shaping your future, even the smallest ones. Reading 10 pages a day may not seem life-changing, but over 5 years, it transforms your knowledge. Saving a little money each month may seem insignificant, until one day it creates financial freedom. Choosing discipline over convenience may feel difficult now, but eventually it becomes your greatest advantage. Purpose isn't found overnight. It's built through countless ordinary decisions repeated consistently over time. Imagine looking back on your life decades from now. Will you remember the hours spent endlessly scrolling through your phone? Or will you remember the goals you achieved, the people you helped, the character you built, the obstacles you overcame? Deep down, you already know the answer. The life you truly want isn't waiting on the other side of more comfort. It's waiting on the other side of greater purpose. And here's something remarkable. Once your life becomes guided by purpose, many of the distractions that once controlled you begin losing their appeal, because you've discovered something infinitely more meaningful. We've now reached the halfway point of this journey, but the most profound lessons are still ahead. In the next principle, you'll discover why accepting mortality can actually make you happier, how guarding your thoughts transforms your entire reality, and why true wealth has very little to do with money. These Stoic principles have helped countless people find peace in the middle of uncertainty, and they might just change the way you see your own life forever. On this journey, you've probably noticed something remarkable. Stoicism isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming unshakable. It isn't about avoiding life's storms. It's about becoming the kind of person who can stand firm while the storm passes. So far, you've learned to focus on what you can control. Stop chasing validation. Embrace obstacles as opportunities. Become comfortable with discomfort. Master your emotions and pursue purpose instead of temporary pleasure. Those principles build a strong foundation. But now, we're about to explore 3 ideas that have the power to completely reshape the way you experience every single day. These next lessons are simple to understand, yet they are powerful enough to transform the rest of your life. Let's continue. Principle number 7. Remember that your time is limited. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and discovering that someone has given you exactly 1 year to live. How would your priorities change? Would you still spend hours arguing with strangers online? Would you continue holding grudges that have stolen your peace for years? Would you keep postponing your dreams? Would you allow fear to stop you from telling the people you love how much they mean to you? Probably not. And yet, none of us truly knows how much time we have. This wasn't a depressing thought for the Stoics. It was a liberating one. They practiced something called memento mori, a Latin phrase, meaning, remember that you must die. At first, that idea may sound dark, but it carries one of the most life-changing lessons imaginable. When you remember that life is temporary, you stop wasting it on things that don't matter. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that every day could be his last, not because he wanted to live in fear, but because he wanted to live with intention. Think about how many moments we throw away without realizing their value. We postpone family dinners because we're too busy. We delay vacations until the perfect time. We keep saying we'll start exercising next Monday. We'll launch the business next year. We'll forgive someone eventually. We'll chase our dreams someday, but someday isn't guaranteed. Life doesn't promise tomorrow. It only gives us today. Imagine life as an hourglass. Every second, another grain of sand falls. You can't stop it. You can't turn it over. You can't ask for more time. All you can do is decide how you'll use the time that's left. This principle isn't meant to create fear. It's meant to create urgency. Because when you understand that your time is limited, you naturally become more selective. And you stop wasting energy on petty arguments. You stop obsessing over insignificant problems. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, and you begin living with greater purpose. Ask yourself today, if this were my final year, what would I stop doing immediately? What would I finally have the courage to begin? Those answers reveal what truly matters. Don't wait for a tragedy to remind you how precious life is. Remember it now, and let that awareness inspire you to live fully. Principle number 8. Guard your mind like your greatest treasure. Imagine owning the most beautiful house in your city. Would you leave every door unlocked? Would you allow complete strangers to walk inside and rearrange your furniture? Of course not. Yet every single day, many people allow negative thoughts, fear, anger, jealousy, and endless distractions to enter their minds without resistance. Your mind is the most valuable place you will ever own, because everything in your life begins there. Every decision, every habit, every relationship, every success, and every failure starts with a thought. The Stoics understood that while we cannot always control what happens around us, we can become more intentional about what we allow to remain within us. Think about the information you consume each day. How many hours do you spend reading negative headlines, watching arguments online, comparing your life to carefully edited social media posts, listening to people who constantly complain? Now ask yourself another question. How has that improved your life? Your mind becomes whatever you feed it consistently. Feed it fear, and you'll become anxious. Feed it resentment, and you'll become bitter. Feed it wisdom, and you'll become stronger. Imagine planting a garden. If you never remove the weeds, eventually they'll choke the flowers. Negative thinking works exactly the same way. One negative thought isn't dangerous, but allowing it to grow unchecked can slowly transform your entire outlook on life. That's why daily mental discipline matters. Start your morning with something meaningful instead of immediately checking your phone. Read a few pages from a great book. Spend a few quiet moments reflecting. Write down your goals. Practice gratitude. Choose what enters your mind before the world chooses for you. Remember, not every thought deserves your belief. Just because your mind says something doesn't automatically make it true. You might think, I'm not good enough. I always fail. Nothing ever works out for me. Those thoughts may feel convincing, but feelings aren't always facts. The Stoics encourage questioning every thought before accepting it. Is this true? Is there evidence? Is this helping me become better, or is it simply another unnecessary fear? The quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of your thoughts. Protect your mind, because everything else depends on it. Principle number 9. True wealth is wanting less. Imagine two people. The first earns millions every year, yet they're constantly stressed, always chasing more, never satisfied, always comparing themselves to someone richer. The second earns far less, yet they wake up grateful. They enjoy simple pleasures. They value meaningful relationships. They sleep peacefully at night. Who is truly wealthy? Most people immediately think wealth is measured by possessions. The Stoics believe something entirely different. Real wealth isn't having everything. It's needing very little. Seneca once observed that it is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who craves more. Think about modern advertising. Every day we're told we need another phone, another car, another vacation, another promotion, another achievement, another purchase. The message is always the same. You'll finally be happy once you have this. But notice what happens after you get it. The excitement fades, a newer version appears, and the chase begins again. This cycle never ends, unless you choose to step outside it. Contentment doesn't mean giving up ambition. It means refusing to let your happiness depend entirely on external possessions. Imagine drinking salt water when you're thirsty. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. Endless desire works the same way. No matter how much you acquire, it never feels enough. Gratitude breaks that cycle. Take a moment to think about everything you already have: your health, your ability to learn, your family, your closest friends, the roof above your head, the opportunities still waiting ahead. Someone somewhere is praying for the very life you currently take for granted. That realization changes everything. The Stoics often practiced imagining life without the things they loved, not because they expected to lose them, but because doing so made them appreciate those blessings even more. Imagine waking up tomorrow without your eyesight, without your ability to walk, without your loved ones. Suddenly, the ordinary parts of your life become extraordinary gifts. Gratitude transforms what you have into enough, and once enough truly becomes enough. You discover a kind of freedom that money alone can never buy. This doesn't mean you shouldn't work hard, build wealth, or pursue success. It simply means those things should serve your life, not become your life. Own your possessions. Don't let your possessions own you. As you practice wanting less, you'll notice something surprising. Your anxiety begins shrinking, your appreciation grows, and happiness becomes easier to find because it's no longer tied to acquiring the next thing. The principle number 10. Build your character before you build your reputation. Imagine two houses. One is built on solid rock. The other is built on sand. From the outside, they may appear almost identical. Both look beautiful. Both attract admiration. Both seem strong. But when the storm arrives, only one remains standing. Character and reputation work exactly the same way. Reputation is what people think about you. Character is who you are when no one is watching. The Stoics believed that character is the only possession that can never truly be taken from you. Money can disappear. Careers can change. Fame can fade. Friends may come and go. But your integrity remains yours unless you willingly give it away. Today's world often encourages people to look successful instead of becoming successful. Many are more concerned with appearing confident than actually developing confidence. More interested in appearing wealthy than learning financial discipline. More focused on being admired than becoming admirable. But appearances eventually fade. Truth always reveals itself over time. Imagine someone offering you a shortcut to success. The only condition is that you must compromise your honesty. Would it be worth it? Perhaps you would gain something temporarily. But every dishonest decision weakens the relationship you have with yourself. And once self-respect begins disappearing, no amount of external success can replace it. The Stoics challenge themselves daily with one important question. What kind of person am I becoming? Notice they didn't ask, how many people admire me? Or how much money have I made? Or, how popular am I? They focused on character because they understood something timeless. Success without character eventually becomes failure. But character almost always leads to meaningful success. Ask yourself tonight, before you go to sleep, did I act with honesty today? Was I patient when it was difficult? Did I keep my word? Did I treat people with respect? Those questions matter far more than asking whether the day was easy. Because every day you strengthen your character. You're quietly building a life that no storm can easily destroy. 1. Principle number 11. Excellence is created by daily habits. Imagine watching an Olympic athlete win a gold medal. The performance lasts only a few minutes, but those few minutes represent years of invisible effort. Early mornings, late nights, countless failures, thousands of small decisions that nobody ever saw. Life works exactly the same way. People often admire success without appreciating the discipline that created it. They see the successful business, but not the years of uncertainty. They see the healthy body, but not the thousands of workouts. They see the confident speaker, but not the hundreds of nervous presentations that came before. The Stoics believed greatness isn't created by dramatic moments. It's created by ordinary actions repeated consistently. Every single day. Imagine two people reading just 10 pages of a book. The first person reads only when they feel inspired. The second reads every day without exception. After 1 year, the difference is enormous. After 10 years, the difference is almost unimaginable. Consistency quietly multiplies over time. This principle applies to every area of life. Want better relationships? Practice listening every day. Want greater confidence? Keep small promises to yourself. Want financial security? Develop disciplined spending habits. And want peace of mind? Train your thoughts daily. Tiny improvements may seem insignificant in the moment, but over months and years, they completely transform your life. Many people fail because they expect immediate results. They exercise for a week and quit. They save money for a month and give up. They meditate twice and decide it doesn't work. They confuse slow progress with no progress. The Stoics understood that nature never rushes. Trees don't grow overnight. Mountains aren't formed in a day. Even rivers shape stone through consistent flow rather than overwhelming force. Patience isn't passive. It's disciplined persistence. Ask yourself, what small habit could I begin today that my future self would thank me for? Perhaps it's waking 30 minutes earlier, reading before bed, writing down your goals, taking a daily walk, calling your parents more often, practicing gratitude, or spending less time on social media. Never underestimate the power of small actions. Your future isn't built by what you occasionally do. It's built by what you consistently repeat. Success is rarely one giant leap. It's thousands of tiny steps taken in the right direction. Principle number 12. Live each day as the best version of yourself. We've reached the final principle, and perhaps the most important one of all. Imagine meeting two versions of yourself. One is the person you are today. The other is the person you could become if you lived according to your highest values every single day. How different would those two people be? Would the future version be healthier, calmer, kinder, more disciplined, more courageous, more confident? The distance between those two versions isn't determined by luck. It's determined by your daily choices. The Stoics believed that life isn't about achieving perfection. It's about pursuing continuous improvement. Every sunrise gives you another opportunity to become slightly wiser than yesterday, slightly more patient, slightly more disciplined, slightly more compassionate. Imagine life as a sculpture. Every decision is another strike of the chisel. Some choices strengthen your character. Others weaken it. Over time, those countless small decisions shape the person you eventually become. Many people spend years waiting for motivation. They believe they'll begin changing once they feel inspired. The Stoics reversed that idea. They understood that action creates motivation. Not the other way around. You don't become confident before taking action. You become confident because you repeatedly take action despite fear. You don't become disciplined by thinking about discipline. You become disciplined by practicing it. One decision at a time, one habit at a time, one day at a time. Every morning, ask yourself, what would the best version of me do today? Maybe that version exercises instead of making excuses. Maybe they forgive instead of holding a grudge. Maybe they speak honestly, even when it's uncomfortable. Maybe they choose kindness when anger would be easier. Maybe they continue working when everyone else has already quit. Those choices may seem small, but together they create an extraordinary life. Remember, your future self is watching every decision you make today. Don't disappoint the person you're capable of becoming. Final thoughts. As we reach the end of this journey, pause for just a moment. Think back to the person you were before this video began. Now think about everything you've learned. You've discovered that peace comes from focusing on what you can control. You've learned that your value doesn't depend on someone else's opinion. You've seen that obstacles are often opportunities wearing difficult disguises. You've realized that discomfort is where growth begins. You've learned to pause before reacting, to pursue purpose instead of endless pleasure, to remember that life is precious because it's temporary, to guard your thoughts as carefully as your possessions, to appreciate what you already have, to build your character above your reputation, to trust the power of daily habits, and finally, to become just a little better every single day. None of these principles require extraordinary intelligence. None require great wealth. None depend on perfect circumstances. They require only one thing, a willingness to practice them. Knowledge alone doesn't change lives. Application does. Reading about courage doesn't make you courageous. Practicing courage does. Reading about discipline doesn't make you disciplined. Choosing discipline every day does. Reading about peace doesn't bring inner peace. Living according to these principles does. So don't let this simply become another inspiring video you forget tomorrow. Choose one principle, just one, and commit to practicing it for the next 7 days. Notice how your thinking changes. Notice how your reactions improve. Notice how much calmer you become when you stop fighting things outside your control. Then add another principle, and another, until these ideas become part of who you are. Remember, transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens one choice at a time. One conversation at a time. One challenge at a time. One ordinary day at a time. Years from now. You may not remember every sentence from this video, but if you truly apply these principles, you'll remember how they changed your life. Because the greatest victory isn't becoming richer, or more famous, or more admired. The greatest victory is becoming someone who cannot easily be shaken by life's challenges. Someone whose peace comes from within, someone whose character remains strong regardless of circumstances. Someone who faces each new day with wisdom, courage, gratitude, and purpose. If this video inspired you, don't let the conversation end here. Share in the comments. Which of the 12 Stoic principles spoke to you the most? Your insight might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear today. If you found value in this journey, take a moment to like this video because it helps more people discover these timeless lessons. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next exploration into Stoicism, self-mastery, mental resilience, and personal growth. Until next time, remember this: you may not control the world around you, but you can always control the person you choose to become, and that choice has the power to transform your entire life. Thank you for watching. Stay wise, stay disciplined, and keep moving forward.